Do you live and breathe soccer? Looking for real, unfiltered takes on the world's biggest sport? Welcome to Soccer Unfiltered, the show where we break down the beautiful game without holding back. With your host, Carl Phillip, aka Coach, Dr. Joe, Coach Carlos, and Yonel. We tackle it all, from the rise of youth soccer in the US, to the biggest European leagues, to hot takes on global football news. Our crew has the insights and opinions that no one else dares to share. It's not just a podcast, it's the place where real soccer fans come together. Join us as we take you inside the game, unfiltered and unapologetic. This is Soccer Unfiltered, where the real soccer talk happens.
All right. Hey, welcome everyone. Hey, welcome to Soccer Unfiltered, when we talk about the game in a war environment, when it's unscripted, we just have fun. So tonight, I have the pleasure to introduce my good friends. We went to high school together. Martin, welcome, buddy. How you doing
Thanks,
today?
man. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh man, I'm glad to have you tonight. So a couple of topics we're gonna talk tonight. So obviously, we're gonna talk about the classical. So everybody is want to talk about that. Obviously, we're gonna kind of touch base about the Ballon d'Or, the controversy about that. Since we're in the U.S., we gotta talk about Inter Miami, right? So
Sure.
how they do the 180 from last year to this year, and also the biggest thing is the inclusion of Inter Miami in the FIFA World Club.
Yes.
But it's gonna be fun tonight. We got a lot of topics to cover. So before I get started, I want to give a big shout out to Melky Dumoni. She was named the CONCACAF Player of the Year. So obviously she's from Haiti. She's a great talent, and it's a pleasure to see her. So for some of you who don't know who she is, there she is right now. So she was she was the CONCACAF Women Player of the Year. So this is great. This is great for Haiti, and then this is great for soccer. This is great for soccer in general. So, Marty, let me ask you a question. So, what you watched her last year, and the last World Cup? Obviously, you saw her also before the World Cup. Games she played for Haiti. So, what's your take on her? And especially last year, she played in the UEFA Champions League final. So, what's your take on her?
Wow, you're putting me on the spot, man. I haven't been watching her that much, to be quite honest with you. I saw a couple of games here and there, and Joe, obviously, Joe, with Joe connection to her. So I basically I took my time to watch a couple of games here and there. But the only thing I could say though, um, sh correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I saw, she has a very good understanding of the game. She can basically anticipate where the ball's going to be, which is basically one of the attribute of a striker. That's pretty much what you need to do if you want to score a goal. You have
Mhm.
to be able to know exactly, how the display the game and know exactly where the ball's gonna go in order for you to be able to be at that position at right position to be able to score the goal. So that's the one of the things that I saw about her. And the other thing I can say too, which is very important, is from what I know about her, from seeing her from afar, like I said, I don't know the person. I don't know her. I haven't interacted with her, but she seemed to have a head in her shoulder. She seemed to be very focused on what she's doing, and just I think she's willing to put the work on, and that's
Mhm.
pretty much what I can say so far about her. Right, so she's doing the right thing. She's acting. So right now, she's doing the right thing, and she's focused, and I think she has goal, and she want to reach those goals. So yeah, so I'm not surprised that she she uh she's been doing good, and hopefully she can basically keep it up. That's pretty much what I can say about her.
Yeah, that's good. Obviously, I mean, you're not a journalist, so your take is what you see. So this is great.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So when I see with her, she's a generational player. I mean, the type of talent that she has, you don't see those type of talents. I mean, the way she controls the ball, the understanding of the game, and then she plays the game the right way, and usually that's what it is. A lot of times, especially young players, sometimes they just want to be one dimensional. They just want to play the game only one way. So if they're very good dribbler, they want to dribble the ball all the time. If they're fast, they want to play it with speed. When you see with her, it's a combination of everything. She's very, uh, she's very talented, and also she's a great player. Like you said, I mean, so far, I mean, and then also she's a great character. Even if,
Seems she
when
seems
she plays.
grounded, right? She seems grounded so far. I
Yeah,
mean,
she's
from
been
what
well
I
guided.
saw
Yeah,
exactly,
she's
that's
a coach, and she
all I can
plays with
say.
a lot of fair play.
Yeah,
She's not. I mean, so far we haven't seen any dirty play from her.
right.
So I love it. I love it, and I love the fact that she's Haitian. I love the fact that she play. I mean, she's. I mean, she put out in a good map. When it comes to soccer. By the way, we have a new guest, Ronel. Ronel is the Real Madrid resident. He's a crazy Real Madrid fan, so we're gonna have fun when we're gonna talk about the Clasico.
And I'm
So,
talking to a crazy Barcelona fan too.
all right.
My
So,
condolences, my friend, my man. My condolences, right, for Sunday. It was Sunday or Saturday? When was it?
it was
Well,
Saturday, but we get there. We get there eventually.
we'll
So,
get there and we can talk.
one of the things that before we get to the Clasico, a player that also play in the Clasico is Diego Armando Maradona. So, if Maradona was still alive today, he would have been 64 years old. So Maradona, when you look at him, I'm gonna start first. This guy was the reason I love soccer. So growing up in Haiti, as a kid, I mean the way Diego played the game made me fall in love with the game. So it was if today I'm talking about soccer or I'm playing soccer and I'm crazy about soccer, it's because of this guy. Not even the way he plays, but he plays with some passion and some love. Like when you see him, he's just like make you want to be. It feel like when you watch Maradona play, you can just go outside and play. And they try to do the same thing. It's just like a Michael Jordan, right? Yeah, I mean the effort. I mean he played with so much grace and so much flair. So I mean, obviously we had some great players that played the game, but for me personally, he was the reason I fell in love with the game. So I'm gonna pass it to the panel now to make you guys say what was your how was Maradona influence your soccer life?
Well, for me, it's very simple. I mean, as you know, I'm an Argentinian fan. The reason why I love Argentina, it's very simple. It's because of Maradona. It's as simple as that. The first game I watched, I remember that because it was like yesterday. The first game I watched, that was back in 1986. That was in July. I was 7 years old. I remember my mom and dad, they went to a friend's house because they were doing some kind of gathering, cookout, something like that. And the kids, obviously us, were, for whatever reason, instead of going outside and play, we were watching the game, the first soccer game. That was my first soccer game. And it was Argentina, if I remember, against England, the finals in 1986. So, I mean, obviously, as soon as you watch the game, the guy who stood up obviously was Maradona. Everybody was talking about Maradona, Maradona, Maradona. So the name basically stuck in my head, right? And then I'm watching the guy play. I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm like, okay, this guy is something else. Fast forward 4 years after, right? 4 years after, I was in Haiti at that time. So when I moved to Haiti, we were watching that was my first time watching the let's say the World Cup. I mean, from the beginning to the end. 1990, that was the first World Cup I watched. The first World Cup, and I remember that game, Brazil against Argentina, where Brazil were. I mean, obviously Argentina didn't play. I mean, they were not. pretty much playing a game. I mean, the strategy was very simple. You stay in defense. You basically stop Brazil and go to penalty, right? And then penalty, the goalkeeper Goicoechea will do his magic. They had one opportunity, only one. And what happened? Martin took the ball, give it to Canigia, and they scored. So, I mean, for me, that guy basically made. I mean, I mean, I can spend the night talking to you guys about Maradona. I mean, that's the thing, like I said. So because of that guy, I've been a huge Argentinian fan up until today, and I love soccer because of Maradona. Man, that's as simple as that. It's very, very simple as that.
So, Martin, I appreciate you being in Argentina. All right, so I'm gonna pass it on to our next guest, Coach Carlos. Welcome. Glad you
Thanks
could
for
make
having
it.
me.
So,
Thanks for having me.
so I'm gonna pass it on to you. So, how much Diego influence your life as a former soccer player and right now as a coach or a fan?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me again, Carl. And it sounds like I came in at the right time. Sorry for being late, but I don't know. Let me just let me see if I can show you a little something, and you guys can then determine for yourself what Maradona means to me.
Beautiful, love it.
Yeah. I like it has already been mentioned. So Maradona was he was football for me. Um, I remember in 1982. It might have even been 1980. My dad had this book, and my dad showed me. He said, "Carlos, come here for a second." I go over there to my dad. My dad opens up this book, and it's a young Maradona, probably 15 at the time or something, and he's holding up the Argentina jersey, number 10. And I said, who is that, Pa? And my dad said, that's the next king of soccer. And I fell in love with him because, Maradona was, he had dark hair like me. He had curly hair like me. He was a little bit, a little bit, darker complected. It was somebody that we could really relate to, and I remember watching the World Cup in 1986, and I remember we watched it in 1982, but for whatever reason, 1986 was the time when I guess I was then old enough to really absorb exactly what I was witnessing in Maradona and that Argentine team, and it was poetry. It was beautiful. The throughout my life, even when I was in high school, I remember I would wear the number 10. I would wear the Puma Kings. I would try to walk like him. I tried to emulate him the way that I played. Um, I mean, Maradona was football, and sometimes I even feel a little bit weird saying his name, just Maradona, because for me it's Diego Armando Maradona. And for a very, very long time, uh, there was no way that I ever thought there could be anybody that could uh, give me as much joy and as much pleasure, than what I got when I watched Maradona. And I don't know if there ever will be. I think Messi is probably the player that comes most close to that. I enjoy watching him play. I've seen him play a couple of times now live, and he's the best. He's the best in the world, and he plays the game. He understands the game. His IQ level is 2 to 3 times ahead of anybody else, but there's still something about Maradona and the way that he touched the ball. I mean, it was just beautiful, and to watch him. I mean, it was like watching a ballerina. The way that he would move and the way that he would become one with the ball, and the way that he danced. And the thing for Maradona too, I think, because he was so passionate, about the game, about the sport. It gave him everything, from nothing to to everything. And I think that that was something else too that for me I was able to relate to, because we grew up in a neighborhood that was pretty rough. It was hard, difficult growing up, and if it wasn't for sports for me, especially soccer, I wouldn't be where I am today. So if I eventually found my way to college, to Fort Wayne, met my wife, we have a family, and I've been coaching for almost 30 years now. So yeah, Diego Armando Maradona. That's for me. He's been the most influential player, absolutely 100% in my life.
Great. Yanel?
As a as a Brazilian fan, I always liked Maradona, and in my opinion, the best Argentinian player ever. My opinion, and the reason why, um, from a kid, I take my games from different things from different people. I think besides some of the most, like, you can look at Garancha, different other players from Brazil, but there are a lot of moves that I know I got from Maradona, which I actually did in one game. Remember when Maradona was playing and then he just fell on one guy, and then as soon as he goes the ball and then he just, he'll the ball back, and then the guy scored the goal. I imagine what I was playing one game in Haiti. I remember this guy just going in. I'm between two players, and I had no other way. And I remember what he did, and I just leaned on those two guys with my right foot, and then pretty much passed the ball. And then my teammates actually scored the goal. And people point and they say, "Yeah, that's a Maradona goal." They're like, "Why? You're not an Argentina fan?" I'm like, "No, I like who actually plays very good." I like Napoli at first for just one person, Maradona. Now everybody else fall in. When everyone was AC Milan fan, Inter Milan fan, when we were getting the culture back in Haiti, I was always Napoli. Why? Because I always believed in Maradona. Um, and you know how, if you know how we do it. If you're Brazilian, you know you do the Brazilian team, and then you vote for this team. I was not like that, because I always like the best players. So yeah, Maradona, actually I watch it, and he was misunderstood because of his some of little antics sometimes, but he was a genius. Still a genius from what he's done, the moves he makes, the passes he does, the way he controlled the ball, and naturally gifted. Um, and yeah, there's nobody like him. I don't think you will ever see anybody like him. The way he plays, the way he shows up for the game, not just for Napoli. I think he played Barca and another team in
Sevilla.
yeah, Sevilla. That's when I know. Yeah, that's where I really liked him on that, because Maradona is one of the reasons why, where I'm from in Carrefour in Haiti, we had a team that actually became um basically, if you're part of that team, you make that team for Carrefour, representing your area. In Haiti you do competitions, Carrefour, Paul Prince, and different things, like that. If you're part of that team, I try not to be on that team, because we're always trying to get the best players. So I told the other guys, I can be part of one another team and not be on your team and still make the team, the junior national team and things like that. And why? Because Napoli was not a big team until Maradona got into it. A lot of those teams, beside Argentina, Maradona was the only one. Yeah, you may find a few, two, maybe one more guy, two more guys, but it was just him. I like to see like superstars playing and then with the normal guys and then still winning. So to me, that's why I always like him for that. He was not looking to play for the biggest team. Whatever team he is, he put them on the map and then make them one of the biggest teams. So to me, that's how I appreciate him more, because I like to play for the underdog a lot of times as a player. So
Good.
yeah.
So it will take us the whole night
Yeah, I
on
know.
this session to talk about Diego.
Yeah,
But
I'm just giving you a
we
different
gotta keep
facet.
moving. I'm
I
gonna
just wanted to
finish
give
the
you different
Diego. I'm
reasons
gonna
why.
give us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish the Diego story with one thing. Right, there was a game. It was the big. When Diego was playing with Napoli, the big derby was Napoli versus Milan. Right, and this guy was a crazy Maradona fan. I mean, you talk about crazy, crazy to the fullest. So this guy actually, he started watching the game. They passed the ball to Diego. Diego put the ball down. And then he said, "That's it. That's all I need to see. I'm done. I'm done watching the game because Diego just did that. That's it. That's all I need to know." But anyway, so speaking of Diego, Diego played in the Clásico because you mentioned that he played for Barcelona. So this past weekend, it was a big thing, right? We had the Clásico going. So just a little reminder for some of you that watch the Classical, I'm gonna show you some clips here, and you're not gonna feel me for it, okay?
No, not.
That was beautiful.
Yeah,
Ole.
but
I can watch
that
it
would,
all
but
day.
that with Courtois is not a goal.
All right,
Yeah, but
so
that was terrible defending. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
that with
so
Courtois is not
I,
a
I'm
goal.
gonna I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start with you, Lionel. All right. So obviously, I'm gonna start with you first. As a Real Madrid fan, just watching that game, what was your biggest takeaway from the
Biggest takeaway. I mean, I watched the game with my son. Right.
game?
As soon as halftime is over, I told him we're gonna lose. He was like, "Why?" I said, "I played the game. I watched the game. If you keep missing all these goals, requires one goal, and then guess what? You're going to put more pressure, and then that opens you up, and it's not your best defense anyway. That game should be over by the first half.
Hmm.
Imagine if Real Madrid really scored those 4 or 5 goals in that first half, it's over. Why would it be over? Then there was no reason to play almost as high as they were playing. They would go back to the same way, playing halfway, and then counter again, and then more goals would have come in. So I'm not surprised by it. Actually, I'm not mad. Actually, to be honest with you, I'm happy they lost. Why? No, I'm serious. I'm a diehard Real Madrid fan. The reason why that's a wake up call about just finishing. Yes, I wouldn't want them to lose, but as always, I told my son that hey, I wouldn't be surprised we lose by so many goals this half. Why you missing so many options, offsides, and the thing I was talking to him also is that I don't know if Mbappe was so much under pressure, but he's too big for him to be in that pressure. It's basic 101. If you have that speed, you don't start speed first. You go all around the defense and then you start making your runs. If you do it once, guess what? Whoever's passing the ball to you will actually get used to you doing that. But I don't think he's used to do that particular way.
Yeah, but
If
he
you
did
look
it
at Rafinha,
8 times,
how
man.
hold on, how Rafinha got that, when he was not offside, it's the same thing that Mbappe should have been doing. So, but to me, that game was lost at the first half. Had they scored all that goals, it's an over game. So I'm not mad about it. You know how you can see other people. Hey, everybody got bragging rights until the end of the season. So I'm not mad. It's just 6 points. So, and then we'll see how the season ends. To me, it's more. It's a bigger wake up call to the team to pretty much work on their finishes, make sure the opportunities that they do. Basically, it's the same thing. Remember last year when they played in the Super Copa
Hmm.
final? The guy game was over the first half because it was the same thing, but they were finishing them. This time they did not finish, and then therefore you end up losing. So to me, I'm not mad at the result. So I'm not. You may see other people. Oh yeah, yeah. No, I know the game. I played the game. I lost before, and I come back and win again. So I'm not worried about that. I
All
don't
right.
think we're. I don't think the team really bothered so much about that loss. Yeah, they don't want to lose as bad as home, but
Mhm.
they've done it themselves too. So to me, it's not a big thing. It's just they need to focus when they have those opportunities take them, make sure they count. That way, you don't give the other team any opportunity to come back and beat you up.
All right,
So,
Martin. So what was your take on that game?
My take, I agree with everything you just said right now. It's by the first quarter, the first half, if they had basically put those 4 goals, it would have been over for sure, 100%. I don't know what's going on with Mbappe. For me, it's like my problem is Mbappe, where you get offside once, get offside twice. You did it 8 times in the game, 8 times. At this level, and if you've been playing soccer since I don't know, since you're 5 years old, 4 years old, those are Boy Scout mistakes that you don't make. And that's my problem, but that's my take on that game, right? The thing is, that's my problem. And the other thing is, I know it's Real Madrid. Defensively, they haven't been like, it's not like they're solid at the back. But there's mistake and mistake. There's 2 goals. The goal from Rafinha they took. That make no sense whatsoever. The guy who got beat that way, and the goal from Lewandowski, the one with the header, right? So there's 2 defenders. You're between Militao and Rudiger. Rudiger see him in front of him. Okay, it's still early in the season. I get all that. There will be adjustment, of course, but I was expecting more from Real Madrid. When you're looking at the lineup, when looking at the teams, it should be. I don't know. That's. I'm talking right now. It's more about the Real Madrid than from Barcelona. For Barcelona, I wasn't expecting it from them. At the beginning of the year, of the season, I had question regarding the team. It's a young team whatsoever. Kudos to Xavi because he brought those young kids from the Messiah, and they're really good. And I don't know exactly what Flick did, but whatever he's doing right now, it's working. And that team, the level of play of Barcelona, that's basically what stood for me. But at the same time, like I said, Real Madrid should have been. For me, there's a lot of question about Real Madrid. That's pretty much. At the end of the day, that's a lot of question about Real Madrid for me. But good thing is it's the beginning of the season, so they can still adjust. But they cannot basically continue playing that way because I don't see them going far in the Champions League.
Last thing I want to say.
Go ahead.
Real Madrid was the worst team for Barcelona to play that high, but that wasn't proven. Why? Because Real Madrid did not take advantage of the opportunities that they were they didn't take advantage of the opportunities that come to them. The reason why it's because you play that high, you have guys with speed and technically quality to finish, but the finishes, the quality did not show up. Had Real Madrid score all that goals, trust me, by the second half, I don't think they would still continue to play that high. And people were saying, why are they still playing that high? Well, they still 0-0. Why they shouldn't maintain that same posture that they start the game? You keep getting offside, you're missing your opportunities, so there's no way to change your tactics. So that's why Real Madrid kind of slightly changed their tactics by push up a bit more, which opened them up for the last 2 goals. So that's what I'm saying, that, tactically, Barcelona shouldn't change the tactic because they're not getting scored on, and Mbappe is getting offside almost every time. When he was not offside, he missed the goal. When he's offside, he scored the goal. So basically, there's no reason for Barca to change their tactic technically to me. So to me, it was a perfect game for them. It's just that Real Madrid did not take advantage of the opportunities that they were given.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Actually, that week leading into that game was a big week for Barcelona. They played against Bayern. They won 4-1, and and I'm going to ask you that question from a coaching perspective. After you play a big game like that, what you think was the mindset into going to the Clásico, and again score another 4 goals, right? So can you walk me through that kind of mindset, as a coach, how you prepare a team after you have a big emotional game in midweek and then to go back and play in the biggest derby of the season?
Yeah, so I think that, well, first of all, I think we all agree that that game could have went so far the other way. But it comes down to moments, and we've talked about this a lot. I mean, when we consider the magnitude of the game outside of it just being the Clásico, but it was at the Bernabeu. And I'm not going to make excuses for Mbappe, Vinny Jr., or any of those guys because for what they're being paid and the level at which they are expected to perform, they shouldn't be missing. They shouldn't be missing the goals that they did. I mean, we're talking point blank inside the 18. There's no reason why they should be hitting the side netting, the outside of the netting. It just doesn't make any sense to me. However, we all know because we've all played the game that sometimes you're going to have one of those games where you have the worst game, and sometimes you have the game where you have the best game. And I think on that night, I think Barcelona had close to their best game, and I felt like Madrid didn't deliver. Now, we could sit here and we could talk about Courtois. Yeah, if Courtois was there, maybe it might have been different. I think that Iñaki Peña stepped up. I thought he made some critical saves as well. So I thought that was important. But, I think one of the keys, and that's why Hansi Flick really didn't make any changes. He took a lot of risk. He took a lot of risk playing that high line that they were doing, and they established a solid mid-block defensive system. And there is a lot of risk when you have players like that have that much speed, but their risk led to reward. And the fact that Mbappe could not make the adjustments, I think that they have to. I think that Ancelotti has to do some adjusting. He has to think a little bit. I mean, about how they want to best use Mbappe. And I think that there's an expectation that just because you have Vinny Jr., Mbappe, Rodrigo, you have those, Jude Bellingham, you have these stars that they're just going to show up and they're going to perform. And I think that it was quite a reality check and wake up call for everybody all around. I think that Madrid is still a great team, and I think that they'll do well, but I think that it's going to take them a little while before they can settle in and get that front line able to know each other a little bit better and get their timing down. I think not having Cruz was a huge loss because normally you would have somebody that can hold the ball a little bit in the midfield and be able to add some tempo and some patience, be able to distribute the ball and maybe calculate those final balls through the last line a little bit better. But I think Hansi Flick is. I think Hansi Flick has been his approach to this season has been amazing. He understands that the majority of these young boys, which probably work to their benefit because they have the youthful exuberance and they don't maybe get so they don't understand the magnitude. Maybe they do, I don't know, but maybe they don't put any unnecessary pressure on themselves, and so as a result they play freely. And we all know as players that whenever you play with joy and when you play and you commit to the flow and you don't worry about all the pressures, the exterior factors, you're able to perform at a high level. But I think Hansi Flick has a very good understanding of what he walked into because Xavi given those young kids from La Masia, and let me tell you a little something about that. So I've had a chance to go to Barcelona, and I worked one-on-one with FC Barcelona coaches, with academy directors and technical directors, and they put a lot of emphasis into their methodology. So what happens is when you have these kids, whether it's Kubarsi or Yamin Yamal or Casado or whoever, these kids grow up with an understanding of the game tactically, the awareness of space, leading to timing, management of the game, everything that I don't think most people understand. Because I think that, let's be honest, to some degree, you can achieve a lot in any sport if you're athletically superior. And Mbappe is an athletically superior player with good technique. But this is still a collective unit. This game is a game of the collective unit. And when you have these kids, no matter how old they are, that understand that methodology and that understand that system, without a doubt, I think that Hansi Flick knew this. And the one thing that from my research that I've seen that Hansi Flick has done a little bit different than Xavi is that Hansi has been focusing more on the physical aspects, the physicality aspects of the game, which traditionally at Barcelona they don't. They traditionally focus on the improvement of technique, how to play faster, triangulation, breaking lines of defense, circulation of the ball, patience. I feel like Hansi understands all that, and he still wants to play and commit to that style of play. But he's added a dimension to their playing style now that is allowing them to go forward with a little bit more emphasis to attack, to finish. I thought that Lewandowski had a great game. He was able to find the back of the net. Again, I think Madrid's defense looked poor. They looked poor, and so for me, that's kind of the overview. I believe that Hansi Flick. I was skeptical because I love Xavi. I loved him as a player, and I loved him as a coach. But I believe that from what I've been able to see, Hansi has come in. He knows how to motivate the players. What he's done with Rafinha has been unbelievable. He's given him more freedom, and I felt like Rafinha was a little bit under maybe some pressure because Xavi was trying to make Rafinha fit into the Barcelona system, and I believe that what Hansi Flick is doing is he's allowing he's getting to know these players, and he's finding out how they fit. Yes, still into that system, but not so much that they have to conform. He's still giving him the freedom. And I tell you, man, Rafinha looks good. Rafinha looks good. And Yamal looks good. And, I'm happy for these youngsters. And then you got guys like Gavi and like Olmo that are coming off the bench. I mean, that was beautiful. Pedri is looking in great form. It was a joy to watch. Obviously, anytime that we beat, with all due respect, anytime we could beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, that's huge. That's huge. But Real Madrid, I think, is going to bounce back. They're going to still do well. I just hope that Barcelona can continue to do well in La Liga and in the Champions League. But we're going to continue to wait and see.
Good. Hey, great takes, guys. We're gonna take a little break. Obviously, the holiday is coming up. And this session was provided by Excalibur Shop. So we're just gonna take a quick break.
What company is that?
Excalibur. All right, so for the holiday coming up, guys, is if you want to get your fit that gear or any type of gear that you want for the holiday, so go to ExcaliburShops.com and get you the latest and greatest.
All right. Who's that model in the red shirt, man?
I don't know.
I don't know the name of the company. I need to know the owner for me to do anything like that, but I don't know who that person is, so I don't know.
Hey, if you want to see it, this is the website. www.excalibur.
Yeah, but when I do the research, I can't find the name of the owner. If I find the name of the owner,
anyway, for some of you watching it, it's the website. Go on the website tonight. We currently have 40% off the discount. Get it. The holiday is coming. Get your shopping. All right. So next stop, Ballon d'Or. Oof. Big topic. All right. So for some of you. So the Ballon d'Or, it was the three leading guys were Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo, right? And Rodri. So Rodri end up winning the Ballon d'Or, but it's very controversial. So apparently, Real Madrid knew the day before that Vini was, none of those guys were not going to win it. They didn't even show up to Paris to support it. So now I see you guys. What do you guys think? Did they get it right, or did they get it wrong, and why? So I'm gonna start with you first, Martin.
They were wrong, man. It was Vini. I mean that. That's it. I'm not a Brazilian. I'm not a Brazil fan, but let's be honest. You had to. They were supposed to give it to Vini. Rodri. Listen. He's been consistent since. I look at him. He's been playing for Manchester City. I mean, he basically dictate the tempo, and in critical games, he make goal. I'll give you that. No problem with that. This year, same thing. And when you look at him for the Euro, I mean, he basically did a couple of critical goals for Spain, but he still wasn't the best player for Spain. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, he was one of the best player, but you could basically say Lamina Yamal has a case. Even Nico Williams has a case. You know what I mean? But when you're looking at Vini in Real Madrid last year, clearly, no doubt, he was the best player. Yes, I mean, the Copa America, obviously, I mean, he missed that one. But overall, if I'm looking at Real Madrid, they won La Liga, they won the Champions League, they won I don't know how many. I mean, they won pretty much everything that needed to be won. So I don't know. I don't know how. I know why they give it to Rodri. For me, it's very simple. The guy is European compared to someone who's from South America in the last 20 years, been Messi a lot with Cristiano Ronaldo. So I think they push it and they give it to European based on that. That's my take. That's basically how I see it. But Vini should have got the Ballon d'Or. So what Real Madrid did was classless, but I can understand where they're coming from. That's all I can. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Coach. I'm gonna go to you next.
Well, I think that there's never been a real clear criteria, I guess, for who should be voted as the Ballon d'Or winner. I think that's something that they have to fix. I think the only thing that I can think of that led to that is because of the international trophy that they won in the Euros. I mean, there's no doubt. I think that it has already been mentioned. Rodri is a great player. I mean, I'm a little bit I guess sensitive, or I like the guys in the middle, especially those number sixes. Busquets is one that I don't know if he's ever even been nominated really. I know Xavi and Iniesta was, but Busquets never was. But Busquets is arguably, I think, one of the best midfielders ever. Just because he, again, these guys have the ability to control the tempo of the game, make critical passes that lead to goal scoring opportunities. But again, I mean, what is the criteria? I mean, because Vinny Jr., there's no doubt. I mean, he's a great player. I wish he wouldn't. I wish he would not. Do all the extra stuff. He's always seeming to be taunting and doing other things after plays, diving and whatnot. And I don't know if they look at that. Mbappe, he went from PSG to Madrid. He hasn't been in a position to really, I think, perform at a high level. I think by next year or the year after, with him being at Real Madrid and winning some major trophies, I think that he's going to definitely be, and he should be, candidate again for that. But I don't know. The only thing I can think of really, again, and without them saying, here's a real clear picture of what, things you have to meet in order to say that you're the best player. I don't know, man. I mean, I think Raji is a great player, but I don't know if I would consider him, the best. I guess I agree with what's already been said. I don't know. It's hard because he's a great player. He is really a great player, but the only thing I can think of is because of the major trophy that they won, and he was a major part of that. But that's the only thing I can think of. I don't know if I can say they got it wrong or they didn't get it wrong, because I wish I had a list that said, okay, these are all the. I mean, when Messi was winning the Ballon d'Or, I always felt like, hey, that was clear. It was clear, when they gave it to Modric, I felt like they tried to get a good midfielder in there. I don't even know if that year. In compared to Messi, maybe they just wanted to give Messi a little break from getting it. Maybe Messi still should have gotten it that time, but I don't know. I don't know. All I can think of, really, from my perspective, it has something to do with the major trophy.
Yeah. Lionel.
Well, to me, I think this Ballon d'Or was actually not so much. Rodri is a great player. I like how he plays, the way he carries himself, everything. Remember when we first started this? The first day we did the first podcast I participated.
Mm-hmm.
I told you I can see online the campaign started already. This is not had nothing to do with Rodri. This was an anti Vini Ballon d'Or. It started way before the Europe competition is over. Um, the reason why I'm saying this is because if you look at it, every criteria they were talking about, he's in. Um, if which I agree with Real Madrid before they even posted their comment. I said, well, if you say, okay, it's the player that perform, represent their team, and critical to their teams to do that, then yeah, Vini don't win it. But guess who's next? Carvajal. He won more championship this year than anybody. He was part and critical of Spain. Um, he won, he carried himself pretty good as well too. If they're looking at fair play, so why he didn't win, and he's not even number 3 or number 4. So I just think that to me, this Ballon d'Or was not for Rodri to win. And to be honest with you, if Spain had lost, you would see they probably give it to. Let's just say it was England that wins. They would have given it Jude Bellingham, which he would have been deserved though. But
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying to you that I don't care how it was, what team. If Germany had won it, they would say Toni Kroos won it. Vinny is not gonna win it. I don't think Vinny was going to win that Ballon d'Or. Period. Because remember, I told you I saw this thing online, and I know I monitor those type of things. You can start seeing the campaign to start doing anything. Second of all, they need to start going and look at who's actually voting. Today there was a bunch of videos of guys, journalists voting, you know, for the Ballon d'Or, and these guys they didn't even put Vini number 8 in their list. So if you can't really in soccer terms can see who's actually the best, and because you don't like this player and you're not voting in, this is not about who you like. Who do you think is the best? Who actually performed the best wins it. And also, I believe this is a makeup for all the Xavis that didn't win, all the Iniesta that didn't win, all the Thierry Henry that didn't win, or Drogba or Etos that didn't win at one point of time. They try to change every year. When Ronaldo and Messi was winning, whoever was the best the year scored the most goals wins. And then now they start adding fair play, overall year, and everything. So if you're talking about fair play, yeah, Vini short ended. Did you see the video of Rodri just hold somebody in the neck? That was not fair play. So they overlook certain things to make point for someone. I also think that the fact that Vini is at the head of anti-racism put a target on him as well. I'm not sure overall everyone think like that, but I think some people who didn't vote for him, looking at it, if you look at the comments that's being made in Spain, that's non-Madrid fan, that's pretty much what's being reported. So to me, I don't think Vini was going to win it. He deserved it, and it's a shame that it happened. And by the way, Real Madrid that didn't go, a lot of teams sometimes don't even travel. Some year, if Messi don't win, they don't show up. If Ronaldo didn't win, they didn't show up. Yes, they make it. They make it like a big thing, but a lot of times, some players, the big players, when they're not winning, they don't even show up to the Ballon d'Or. I don't think people are making a bigger deal out of this. A lot of times, most teams don't even have a delegation going there. The player just showed up and everything like that. Real Madrid pretty much make it a bigger issue, and the fact that they can criticize them. But yeah, years after years, Ronaldo don't show up, Messi don't show up. So I don't think this is to me a big deal. So, but
Yeah.
I just think that to me, Vinny, continue to work hard. If I was him, next year, if they win all the championship and then they nominated him, he wins, I still not show up.
And I agree with you guys. I think everything everything you guys said was right on point. Uh, yeah, I mean, for me, not knowing the criteria of it, and it, I mean, for me, the way I look at it, right, it has nothing to do is really is a Real Madrid fan or anything. When you dominate, I mean, let's say that he played for 6 months. He dominated for 6 months, and then he had one bad month, and he lost everything. I mean, he dominated the whole season, and then he just didn't play well. I mean, Brazil team was not good, right?
Yeah,
So
the whole team
it
sucked.
was not a good team. But
And
I
let's say
don't
he
know.
played one bad game, and he scored what 2 goals in one game, and then suspended for the next game.
Yeah.
So he pretty much played one game. I mean, 2 games technically. So I'm just saying that this is has nothing to do with Rodri. He just in between it. I don't think Vinny was going to win it. The criteria were changing. I remember when France was going, they said, "Oh, if France win, maybe it's Mbappe. If England win, maybe it's Bellingham. Then if Germany ended up, oh, Cruz is supposed to deserve it. The whole time, Rodri was not even part of the conversation at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Rodri didn't make the best team in the EPL. Rodri did not make the best team as the best in his position in the UCL. So all those teams that are actually giving you personal criteria where you make the team as the best, he was not in any of them. And if you look at the Spain games, most of the games he plays up to 70 minutes and they take him out. The semifinals and everything, um, all the big games that, they sub him at the halftime. Great player. Great player. I love him. But I don't think it has nothing to do with Rodri. It was more, let's not let Vinny win. To me, that's the reason why he didn't win that. And to me, that's actually a travesty.
And one more thing, like while we're talking about criteria, one of the criteria I don't think I remember is the fair play and class. You want me to continue or?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So fair play in class was one of the criteria, and let's be honest, I think on that criteria, quite sure Vinny pretty much didn't do well. So I'm assuming right now is maybe that's might be the reason why he lost, and then Roger won. But even with that, I mean, like I said,
It,
that's it.
even with that criteria, if you look at a lot of videos that happen in EPL, Roger reaction, red card, put his hand on somebody's throat. Other games that he was being thrown out and different things. So he act up too. So
Yeah.
if that's the case, that's what I'm saying. If those are the right criteria, Vini, you lose. But it's not Rodri. That's Carvajal. You can't find anything that he didn't meet. He met all the criteria to. To me, this is where they can validate what they were saying. Vini do not lose. Vini lose the Ballon d'Or and then Carvajal win. Trust me, Real Madrid would have showed up everybody because you set a criteria and then one person actually fully met it. That's to me, that's how they should have done it properly.
All right,
But the
guys.
moment you didn't have that, then you lose all the credibility to me.
All right, guys. We got 2 minutes left. I had on the topic that we were going to discuss.
You cut up.
You said you had another topic. We can't hear.
I can hear you.
Just say something.
You on mute?
You move that mic and then all of a sudden we can't hear you.
Did it unplug? Testing 1, 2, 3. Did your mic unplug? Can you hear us? Blink twice if you could hear us.
Oh, he's moving. I can see his eyes moving.
Yeah.
Can you hear us,
You
Carl?
guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we can hear you. Yeah, we
you
can hear
mute
you now.
yourself.
You're back.
Can you hear us?
By the
Is
way,
it quick?
Carl forced me to be on this tonight because I just had dental surgery and my mouth is hurting and bleeding, and he still make me talk to that. I'm sending you that bill.
He's ruthless, man. He's ruthless. I'm telling
I
you.
know. I'm sending him a bill. I'm getting my free Excalibur shirt this holiday.
There you go. Can you hear us, Carl?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
we
can
could
hear
hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. We can hear you. He can't hear us for some reason. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
You need to go on mic and then pick your peripherals where you want to talk.
I don't think he can hear us.
He can't hear us.
Let me send you a remote session. I can hack into your system for you. We could hear all the noise you make with your hands.
All right, sorry, my mic went out. But anyway, so we're gonna continue the conversation for Inter Miami on the next episode, since it's already 9 o'clock. So thank you guys. Thank you.
By the way, before you go,
Yeah.
this thing is heavy. Like, anything you like. Come on, we need some diversity, Mister.
No. Obviously, we kind of ran out of time. So hopefully next time probably be on time so we can start.
Hey,
so
listen.
we can cover all the topics. Anyway, thank you guys. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. Like I said, for next episode, we're gonna discuss the historic run for Miami, coming from the worst team now to be the best team, and all the points that they score, plus the inclusion of Inter Miami and the FIFA World Club. So we're talking about controversy. So next time
that's
we're
the
gonna
biggest
talk about
one.
a lot of controversy.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. So Martin, on your first night, you did well. Lionel, thank you for always. And Coach Carlos, thank you for showing up. It's been fun. Thank you guys.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right,
Bye.
take care, guys.
Do you live and breathe soccer? Looking for real, unfiltered takes on the world's biggest sport? Welcome to Soccer Unfiltered, the show where we break down the beautiful game without holding back. With your host, Carl Phillip, aka Coach, Dr. Joe, Coach Carlos, and Yonel. We tackle it all, from the rise of youth soccer in the US, to the biggest European leagues, to hot takes on global football news. Our crew has the insights and opinions that no one else dares to share. It's not just a podcast, it's the place where real soccer fans come together. Join us as we take you inside the game, unfiltered and unapologetic. This is Soccer Unfiltered, where the real soccer talk happens.